Hi friends, I'm Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking you through all of the books that I am planning on unhauling and getting rid of and leaving my apartment. I live in a London apartment and I don't have a lot of space for books. I have the one bookshelf. If I could, I'd get another one, but there isn't really the room. So I am overflowing with books. As you can see that I have these piles next to me. One of them is a TBR pile and then one of them is an Unhaul pile, which I'm going to be talking you through today. The UK, unlike the US, there aren't any used bookshops where you can trade in books and get credit. Like, that's not a concept that exists here, really annoyingly. So some of these, I'm still trying to decide what to do with them. Some of them I will be trading with my friend Diana from Diana in the Nook. So we're planning on doing that as soon as things open up a bit. Some of these I will happily take to the charity shop, like, I don't mind, but there's a few which I'm still trying to figure out how I can get rid of them because of them being like nice hardbacks. So I don't really want to just give them away for free. But that is TBC, and this is why this pile has sat here for so long, because there's just not been anywhere that I could really take them to that was open and accepting donations as well, because even when the charity shops here have been open, they've been overrun with donations of things, and so they've refused things. So it's given me time to really reflect on whether I want them or not, and I don't want them. So we'll just go through. I will be unhauling Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I really struggled with this. I've talked about it in a few videos now, and it's a space opera. It seems to get, a lot of people seem to love this. I just could not imagine the world at all. I just really struggled with the descriptions, so I won't be continuing the series, so there's just no point in me holding on to this. The same can be said that I will not be continuing the Greatcoat series by Sebastian de Castell. I'm really sorry, Alan. I know you love this series so much, and I know you say that it gets better, but there's only so much time in my life, and I don't want to be spending time reading just okay books. I want to be reading the great books, and unfortunately The Greatcoats was not a great book for me, so it was just okay, and no one has time for okay in their lives. I will be unhauling Way of Kings Part 1 because I have a hardcover copy coming in the post. So it's not that I don't want to read this, it's that I have ordered, they have re-released the Way of Kings hardcover of the whole book, so I've ordered that because I really enjoy hardcovers, and this is like quite a grotty old paperback that I found in the charity shop, so I'm not too fussed about getting rid of it. My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This was another book in my disappointing books of 2020 video, and nothing happened. I've discovered that I'm not sure if thrillers are for me, because actually I've got three thrillers here. I've got My Lovely Wife, Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris, and The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and all of these were disappointments to me, and I wasn't too fussed by any of them. And this one did have a plot twist, but I wasn't too fussed about it. These two didn't have plot twists, so I didn't really see the point in them and what they were trying to portray, and I would never reread them. I don't really know many people that do reread thrillers because you know what's going to happen, so is it really thrilling if you read it a second time? So these three will be going. I unfortunately wasn't that much of a fan of the Broken Earth series by N.K. Jemisin, so I'm going to get rid of all three of these books. They were fine, they were okay, but I feel as though a lot of people love these books, and a lot of people really want to read these books, and I wish I loved N.K. Jemisin, I really do, but I've given her a fair shot. I've given her a try. I've read all three of these books. I've read The City We Became, and none of them were really for me. So I'm gonna pass on the rest of N.K. Jemisin's works and let someone else have these. I'm sure someone will be very, very happy to find the complete set in the charity shop. They're all in pretty good condition, and I'm sure it will make someone happy. And they don't make me happy. I have a very pretty book, The Goblin Emperor by Catherine Addison. I read this for my blind date with a book, and I did get sucked in by the pretty cover because it is a really, really pretty cover. Unfortunately, I wasn't a fan of the contents of this. It was just a bit too political, it was a bit too dry, it was a bit too nothing really happening. It was very, very character focused on the one main character, with all the rest of the characters having such confusing names that you couldn't really tell them apart. I know that I was in the minority for this. I didn't think I was until I looked at the Goodreads reviews after I'd finished the book, but it appears as though lots of people really love this and say that it's a nice balance after reading really epic fantasy to go to a slower paced, more literary fiction fantasy. So I'm sure someone will enjoy this, and if not, they will enjoy the cover. I've been contemplating this book for a while. Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon. So I loved Outlander when I read it quite a few years ago now. I really, really enjoyed it. And then I did read Dragonfly and Amber and Voyager, and they just went downhill after that first book. And like, I loved the first book. I loved the premise of this 1940s, 1950s woman on her honeymoon in Scotland, going through a stone circle and ending up in 1700 Scotland and not being able to get back, and the magic of that and the romance. And I really, really enjoyed that. But then it just got too long and too wordy, and it just lost its spark for me. And it took me so long to read Voyager because it was just too long. And so I've owned this book for years and I've not read it. This is one of the few that I've not read of this pile. And I just can't bring myself to read it because it's too big. It's 1,180 pages. I just, and I've heard that for a lot of people, these middle books in the series are, because it's like a 9-book series, and they're all gigantic and they're all just too wordy and slow, and I don't know. I just have not had any desire to pick it up in the years that I've owned it, so I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I also plan to unhaul Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I enjoyed this book. I gave it, I think, 4 stars. I don't think it was worth the hype. It was overhyped, in my opinion. It was good, but it wasn't as good as everyone said it was. And yeah, I did really enjoy it. However, with all the negative reviews that the second book got, I have no desire to continue with the series. I found this book fine, like I enjoyed it at the time, but I don't have any desire to continue, especially now if the second book got really good praise, then maybe it would compel me to continue, but it really didn't. Everyone seemed to hate it. So I don't have any desire to continue. Again, this was really popular, so I'm sure someone will really, really enjoy reading it and enjoy finding it in the charity shop. This one, I'm really sorry, Andy Smith. I know this is like your favourite author ever, apart from Stephen Erickson, but The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. So I'm a bit conflicted on Robin Hobb. Like, I read this quite a few years ago now, and I found it boring. And I think I gave it 3 stars. Like, I think it was fine, but I've never had any desire to continue with the series. And for the premise of the book, the premise sounds really good, but then the execution didn't wow me. And I know that this is her first book, and part of me is tempted to give the Ship of Magic books a try, but they are gigantic, and that does put me off, because I'm like, I didn't really enjoy this one, which is her shortest book, to then go into like an 800-page book. Like, is it worth the risk? I wish I loved Robin Hobb. Like, I remember picking this up and I hadn't really heard anyone talk about it, because this was like back in 2017 or something. And I thought, oh, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to love everything Robin Hobb. I'm going to read the whole lot. And then I read this book and never read any other Robin Hobb because I didn't have any desire to. So I'm sure this will make someone really happy as well. I have both Winter Song and Shadow Song by S.J. Jones. I really liked Winter Song. So it follows like her family, and her sister gets taken by the Goblin King, and she, as the older sister, goes to save her. And then there's like a bit of a romance going on with the Goblin King. So I really liked the first book, but the second book of the duology fell flat a bit. And I don't think I'm ever going to reread these books. I think this one was particularly fun at the time that I read it, but this one wasn't. So I think it was just a fun ride. Like, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it at the time, but I don't see myself ever rereading it. So why should I hold on to these books which are keeping up space where I could be putting more favourite books? Like, it was a good time, but they're not memorable enough for me to keep. I am sure someone will be very happy to find the duology. They are also quite pretty covers. Like, I do like the covers. Another duology, which I guess has similar feelings to the Winter Song duology, in that I really enjoyed it at the time, but I don't think I'll ever reread it. And that is The Orphan Queen and the Mirror King by Jodie Meadows. yeah, this was a fun YA series that I really enjoyed at the time of reading it, but it is like a very quintessential YA fantasy. It doesn't really like do anything different or more than any of the other YA fantasies around. Like I don't think it's nothing special. It's not like the best YA fantasy that I've ever read. So I don't see myself reaching for it for a reread. I just found it fun. It was well written. Like, I'd recommend it if you want a fun YA series, but I don't see myself gravitating towards rereading it. I will be unhauling both Red Sister and Grey Sister by Mark Lawrence. I liked this trilogy. I've read the whole lot, I just never owned Holy Sister. The first book is my favourite in the trilogy, but I don't love it enough to keep it. I feel as though this is yet another series that is overhyped. Like, I can see good elements in it. I can see why people why people might like it. Like, I think the premise is really good. Like, I really like these fighting nuns, but I don't know if I really liked the execution. I think I wanted to like it, but I wasn't overwhelmed with my love for it. And I particularly feel like the first book was pretty good, but the second and third book just didn't have the same magic to them. And I felt as though, especially in the third book, the timeline was very weird, like it was very disjointed. I don't know if they really felt like women, like it's a very female-centric story, like all the characters are female, but it's all been written by a man. And so I don't know if they necessarily felt like actual women, to me, that is. I mean, I think he tried, but I don't know if they actually came off as sounding like real women. I think it's very hard for men to write women effectively. So, and I don't plan to read any more Mark Lawrence. I just don't feel compelled to read any more of his books. And then the final stack here is the Falling Kingdoms series by Morgan Rhodes. So I read books 1, 2 and 3 many years ago, and I really enjoyed them. I found them they were a fun YA fantasy series. It was always compared to as like the YA version of Game of Thrones, which is just a marketing tag. But I found the first book fun, and then I tried rereading them to continue the series, and I just really struggled with that reread. Like, I just couldn't get into it. I felt as though I had to reread it because I couldn't remember enough. But when I was rereading it, I was like, this is so slow and not wowing me. And so I kept pushing through. Like, I reread the first and the second book, and then I got stuck somewhere in the third book on my reread. So I never read the fourth and the fifth book. And then I've heard such mixed reviews, or generally negative reviews, for the fifth and sixth book in the series. So that as well has like lessened my desire to finish it and keep reading it. So I think it's got to the point now where I'm like, I think I'm just gonna have to give up with it. I think maybe if I read the whole lot back in 2014, or if they were all published when I read the first 3, then I probably would have finished and I would have really enjoyed it. But it's now not my thing anymore. That like, time's gone by, I've moved on, and YA fantasies have to really wow me now for me to keep going with them and really enjoy them. Like, I generally read more adult books now, and for a YA book it has to be like the best of the best, and these I don't think are the best of the best. I will be getting rid of the whole series as I have it in hardback. I'm not too sure quite what to do with it, because it feels a bit weird to say that I want money for it, that I don't really just want to be giving away all these hardback books which I have paid good money for free at the charity shop. So that's why I have had them for so long and have been unsure what to do with them, because it feels, I don't want to sound greedy. I don't think I'm selfless enough to give these books away for free. So those are all of the books that I am planning on unhauling for now. There might be a few more that might be cut at some point, because I've only got so much space. So there is potential that other ones will be cut. I definitely have ones back at my parents' which I feel as though I could unhaul, but these are the ones that I own here that I am happy to get rid of and pass them on to someone else and give them a loving home somewhere. If any of these are your favourite books, then I'm seriously happy for you. It's great that these have an audience. Unfortunately, none of them worked for me. I wish that they did, but unfortunately they didn't, and by getting rid of them, they will hopefully go into a home where someone can love them and really enjoy them, and they will make someone happy. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my future videos. Bye!